Life is too short for fear.
Welcome everybody to Ascension eSports Elder League Semifinals. Now, after a long time, we finally got these teams here in semifinals. Now, after a 5-week season, these teams have duked their way through the quarterfinals, with the exception of the team you see on the left right here. This is the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies, the first place seed coming into playoffs. Now, Relegades Incorporated, being the 6th seed, are looking to see if they can take their place, but it's going to be a rough ride. Now, fire-breathing Rubber Duckies being undefeated since the first week, not having lost a single game since then. They got a bye the last week in the quarterfinals, so it's been a while since they've had to play in the 7-team environment here. But I don't think it'll be that big of a problem. Now, we see lots of target bans. Of course, we got
Sound muted. Sound
Wowie pick most of all. He's very well known for that pick, along with his Kled and I don't recall the other one, but very well known for playing those carry top laners, so they're definitely looking to take him out here. First pick will be that Thresh. Thresh most likely going to Iron Leash. So there's a couple other interesting bans we see out here. We see the Maokai ban. Now, that could be either a support Maokai ban or a top lane Maokai ban. Red Flame Evolved tends to play more towards the carry side, so I'm unsure if it's targeted at him, but support Maokai definitely a fad that's been going on recently, and pretty good champion overall. And now here, just like I was talking about earlier, the Blue Girls Kled, another champion he was fairly well known on, now being taken by Red Flame Evolved to try and take away the Blue Girls champion pool just a little bit. So I'm not actually sure what the Blue Girls tertiary pick is. So we'll have to see that for ourselves here. So the Akali pick on the side of the Relegades Incorporated you see here on the right, that's actually been I've actually been informed that that's an Ahri pick. So Mr. J-Jax, previously of the Dragon League, however now in the Elder League, going to be wanting to play that champion for himself. Killer Z as well, quite the proficient Ahri player. So we got two pretty good Ahri players here, but see how Killer Z responds in the next rotation. But for now, it looks like Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies are going to be taking Lucian and Zac. So last week we saw Relegades Incorporated very close come to getting reverse sweeped by the other team. Now they had a 3-2 victory to end up here, but it is very daunting to say the least when you have to go against the first seed team who have not dropped a game since week 1, and you still dropped 2 games in the quarterfinals. So you have to think what's going through these players' minds as you come into these games. Are they confident they can win this game? Are they a little bit worried? They'll be playing a best of 5 here, so nerves may be running a little bit high, but this is the first game, so we'll have to see. In a best of 5, anything goes for the first couple of games, so right now it's a time for teams to throw stuff at the wall and see what sticks. Speaking of seeing what sticks, Killer Z playing that Vladimir. He has actually played that in scrims in the past, and to very great effect. Vladimir, a very scary champion, played in the right hands, as well as the Blue Girls Trundle, which actually I have never seen before. So see whether or not he can pull that out well, but Blue Girl definitely very good at these carry top laners. So I have my full faith that he'll be able to carry with this champion. I am unsure how the Kled versus Trundle matchup goes, so we'll have to see that for ourselves, but so it will be a remake of the lobby in order to get those placeholders onto the actual champions. No big deal, just gonna have to wait for a little bit for them to get back into this game. Alright, so we'll be getting back in here. Now, something to talk about these compositions. I actually didn't get quite a good look at it. However, definitely the Blue Girls Trundle, not really that type of pick that you ordinarily see out of him. I've never seen it personally, and so
Life is too short for fear.
I have to see how the Relegades are going to pull this out, especially after that week that they had. So it came close to them actually not having their jungler White Raw here, but luckily both teams are playing with their full lineups. Mr. J-Jax, a recent acquisition for the Relegades, having played in Dragon League previously, and to my knowledge actually gotten relegated from, but that is no matter when you can come here to Elder and play as well, apparently.
So I go.
So these bans for the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies, you have to remember, are not actually the bans that they had before. They're switching them up now to make sure that this process goes faster. So White Raw will be on this Gragas. He has been a major proponent of the Ivern pick in previous weeks. However, now he's picking up this Gragas, which serves much the same function. He gets to be that tank, he gets to peel, do all these things, and also adds a side of aggressiveness to it. Aside from the root color catches, you also get this explosive cask initiation that otherwise you couldn't get. So Gragas is definitely a pretty good substitute for that Ivern, but definitely very different champions. So Samano going to be onto that classic Ezreal of his. In the absence of that Lucian, he will be playing the more safer pick into the Thresh, as well as having Sandwalker's Morgana shields to protect him in these fights. So both teams having pretty solid team comps. The one thing I do question though is that Zact, I do believe, has a about 40% win rate or something like that. I don't know whether that's changed since the first week that he was released, since I know that he's gotten a few hot fixes since, but definitely a little bit on the weaker side since he was reworked in this past patch. So we'll have to see how that works out. Personally, I haven't had much luck with Zax recently, but in a team environment, maybe he can make it work with the new ultimate, changing less bounce into a more able to catch people tool, able to transport them into backline potentially. Maybe they'll have more team play, especially when coupled with the pillar from the Blue Girl, the ultimate from Killer Z. There's a lot of AoE damage that could be going down here, so we'll have to see. So we will be going into this 3-minute pause here. Game won't be starting for a little bit longer, but we'll be able to talk it out and see what's going on here. So now, if you're new here, is Ascension eSports Elder League. This is the gold-to-plat league. We have signups opening this or next week, so that's going to be pretty soon. Keep your eye on the subreddit. We also have our Dragon and Phoenix leagues, that being the gold, the bronze, silver, and the diamond and up league, respectively. So if you want to play, come to our subreddit, come to our TeamSpeak, our Discord. Signups are going out soon, as I said, so make sure you want to get in on this, and we'll see you there. So composition-wise, I think that a lot hinges on how it's executed here. If you look over at the side of the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies, with that Vladimir, with that Zac, they've got really good team fighting there. They got a lot of AoE magic damage in the form of that Baba Ganoush, and Killer Z's magic damage. But on the side of the Relegades, you got this Kled with his charge. You have Morgana, Ari. You have all these catching tools, the explosive cask from White Raw. So it looks like they're going to be pretty good at picking. But the thing about pick comps is that you have to actually be able to execute it. So if they're unable to catch somebody, if they're unable to put this comp to good use, then it's not going to go very well for them. Obviously, they're not crippled if they go into a team fight, but it really just depends on whether or not they get behind, whether or not this Kled on Red Flame Evolves Kled is able to do the Kled thing and just duel everybody and kill everything. But we'll have to see. It's really unsure. Both supports will be taking Exhaust here, and both mid laners will be taking Ignite, so it looks pretty standard there. Z recently has been kind of a fan of this Vladimir. I'm pretty hyped to see him on it. I think that the Vladimir versus Ari matchup is quite favorable towards Killer Z. But White Raw on that Gragas, maybe potentially he could get some pressure in there. Having that body slam really helps, but a lot of outplay potential with that pool, to say the least. With 40 seconds left to get in this game, we're almost into the action here. Nidalee, I think that she's got a pretty well-known Thresh. I believe it's one of her primary supports, if I'm not mistaken. Mokujin and Samano having pretty similar champion pools, I think. Both favoring that Lucian, but it looks like this game they're just going to be content with Samano and Lucian, and Mokujin with that Samano with that Ezreal, and Mokujin with that Lucian. Bot lane matchup looks like it could go either way depending on how they play it. Ezreal and Morgana could be strong in the right circumstances, but otherwise, it looks like they're going to mostly get bullied by the other bot lane of fire-breathing rubber duckies. It is, however, a fairly vulnerable lane when executed correctly, with the threat of the Body Slam Flash from White Raw, as well as having that Dark Binding from Sandwalker. So there's just so much that could happen here. It's definitely too early to say anything about the actual game itself, but there's just so much that could be happening. And we are going to be getting this loading screen. So the lineups are going to be on the side of the fire-breathing rubber duckies. First seed coming into the semifinal match, we got LeBlue Girl in the top lane, Baba Ganoush in the jungle, Killer Z on mid, Mokujin and Nidalee in the bot lane. And now on the side of Relegades, being the 6th seed coming into this playoffs, we have Red Flame Evolved on the top side, White Raw in the jungle, Mr. J-Jax mid, and Samano and Sandwalker bot lane. So we'll be getting into this game here, seeing how it will go. First couple of minutes, probably not going to be much happening with the Zac and the Gravis. I'm interested to see whether or not there's any sort of pathing shenanigans going on. Potentially, maybe you could see a Raptor start from maybe White Raw, I believe. But we'll have to see. So standard starts coming out. Something to note is that Samano has actually opted for that Doran's Shield versus Mokujin and Nidalee. He's going to be kind of afraid of that lane, so he wants to have that Doran's Shield, which is the recent fad for AD carries. He's going to want to keep himself safe, you know, just heal up for a bit, CS from a distance, stack that tier, do what Ezreal does. Top side, we see a Doran's Blade being started by Red Flame Evolved and a Corrupting Potion for LeBlue Girl, so also looks pretty standard. Doesn't look like there's going to be any invade hijinks here, but going to be fairly regular starts. Something to note is that Killer Z actually also has started with that Doran's Shield. I've seen him do it before in scrims, and it's pretty good. You know, he gets he doesn't have to get any of the disadvantages of having Doran's Ring because he doesn't have mana, and he gets all of that regen, which is really good when you're playing a caster whose health is his own resource. So I have to see how this one turns out, but it's going to be pretty good for him having to, when he takes those pokes occasionally from Ahri, then he can heal up right afterwards, so should be pretty good for him. Starts, we'll see pretty typical starts here. Going to be starting blue for White Raw and red for Baba Ganoush. Something to note is that Mokujin has apparently been late to the leash. I mean, that's probably like a minuscule difference in all honesty, but it's a couple autos there, bud. So, should be fine. Baba Ganoush is going to get his red buff. Red Flame Evolved. Could be trying to stick it to him a little bit. Oh, actually, we do see a Dark Binding right here. Mokujin taking a decent chunk of damage already. A third of his health. A little bit more than that. At 2 minutes. So we'll see a little bit of trading going on in these top and bottom lanes. Sandwalker doing his best to use that Dark Binding for some range. A little bit of presence. Now both junglers are pathing their way towards the top side. Hopefully we get to see which one goes for the top lane gank, but for us we see a little bit of action going on here. The Blue Girl and Red Flame Evolved being taken very low. Red Flame Evolved on this pled, flashing away before the melee auto attack could go off. Auto caster minion auto attack chasing him, but he will be okay. Very, very, very close there in that exchange. And now both top laners are heading topside, looking for blood. Red Flame Evolved. Oh, but White Roz found Baba Ganoush. Baba Ganoush is now going to hit him with that stretching strike, but not going to get much out of it. It will be okay. Both jungle and top laners doing the best up here. Red Flame Evolved is going to be stacking that passive of his. Going to be getting a little bit of that health back. But the thing is, both top laners here, the Blue Girl and Red Flame Evolved, do have sustain in the form of their passives. Red Flame Evolved can always hop on Scarl whenever he needs to get a little bit of health. And the Blue Girl has the King's Tribute, I believe it's called. Trundle actually gains health based on the maximum health of the minions, or just any enemies dying near him. So as you see, it's a little bit more effective. The Blue Girl is actually higher health, but he has burned, I think, all the charges of his Corrupting Potion. This is going to be pretty typical starts. Here we see a slight CS lead. Oh, but for us we see a hook onto Shimano. No Flake coming out here. Maybe it's on cooldown, but I'm going to be taking that and going with it. Red Flame Evolved getting the 4th proc of that auto attack. Oh, but now we see Baba Ganoush does miss the elastic slingshot barely. Oh, uses the second part of the stretching strike to try and get Red Flame Evolved slightly closer, but it's not quite that powerful, so Red Flame Evolved will be fine. So Whiterun actually heading back. He does get the Amplifying Tome for himself, so he's going to be a little bit stronger in terms of dueling. If he's going for that Runic Echoes, however, he may not be tanky enough fast enough for his team. That's the thing about going for these AP on these tanks like Gragas. You have to be careful that you're not things like ditching your team and going for the damage. But first for the damage, we're going to see him going on to Killer Z. Using that pool, we see some damage going out, and the flash from Killer Z. Red buff is applied. Killer Z drains his own health with that, and Mr. J-Jax flashes in and gets the kill. First blood. 5 minutes in, we see very well executed between Whiterun and Mr. J-Jax, and that's going to be a slight advantage towards the Relegades. Now we see that 400 gold lead. Killer Z going to back, he's going to grab himself that Hextech Revolver, going to be starting to build it towards that Proto Belt, but he's going to be behind a little bit. The thing is, though, that he does have a CS lead. Hook barely misses from my Nidaleish. We will see some items being picked up in the top side. Double Dorans for Red Flame Evolved. He wants to be a little bit tanky, a little bit better in these skirmishes when he's fighting with Blue Girl. Doesn't want to be really bullied out of this lane by that Trundle. Both top laners, however, will be picking up that cloth armor, so get a little bit tankier, be able to fight a little bit longer. With magic damage junglers, that could be considerable when they're coming in for a gank. Charm barely misses from Mr. J-Jax. Red Flame Evolved is looking to tangle a little bit. Does get a lot of damage, actually. Gonna get the 4th proc and be out. The level 6 has been reached by the Blue Girl first, and now Red Flame Evolved finds himself on the other end. Girl nearly gone, not quite. So Scar's gonna live for another day, but a lot of damage being taken by Red Flame Evolved, and that was potentially very scary if the Blue Girl had been able to catch up to him and use that Subjugate. Something interesting to note is that a Hextech Revolver has been picked up by Mr. J-Jax as well. I'm not sure if that's for a Hextech Revolver, or, a Proto Belt, or perhaps a Gunblade build. We've seen Piglet do that in the LCS, so I have to see what that's going to be building into. I predict it's going to be the Gunblade. That is a tried Auri build, going more towards the auto attacks, and weaving them between the casts of the Auri Q. Other than that, not really much going to be going on here, other than the bot lane and Baba Ganoush of Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies taking that blue buff away from Whiterun. He's on the top of the map, so punishing him for being on the other side. It looks like there's a little skirmish going on. The hook does land, but it's fine because he's got a black shield to protect him. So still not much going to go on here. blue buff will be picked up by Mokujin, so he's going to have that piercing light available a lot. He's going to be able to spam it. It's going to be unhappy Lelouch. Whiterod does find himself on the bottom side of the map, however, so let's see if he's going to do anything on this side. Going to see if he's going to try and gank. And he does just land onto Mokujin, not allowed to recall, but he'll be fine. So a little bit more trading going on here. Leblugo is actually very squishy. He does have that subjugate, uses it, but definitely involved misses the buckshot or the pocket pistol. He's got to get himself out of there, and the pocket pistol does knock him back a little bit, so he's going to be okay, but bit off a little bit more than he could chew there. Whiterod may be biting off a little more than he can chew, but he'll be alright. Very close to dying to that red buff, which would have been embarrassing to say the least, but he'll be alright. The tier picked up by Samano. Meanwhile, Mokujin is actually not backed, I don't think. He has not spent anything on any of his gold yet, so staying in the lane the whole time. Does have more CS to show for it. But to show for it, we do actually see the charge coming in. He's coming in, going to go onto I immediately. He's trying his hardest to defend, but Samano does take him down. Very good team play by Red from Evolved. Relegades looking to make the first move. Now they're going to push this wave in and see if they can get whatever damage they can onto this tower. Don't think they'll be able to take it, but now Bob and Ganoush and Leblugo are now threatening this top lane tower. Actually, they may be able to get this. This is 4 members of the Relegades. Now this is a tower race, but I seriously doubt that the side of Firebird and Rubber Duckies can get this fast enough. Mr. J-Dax is here clearing out whatever minions he can, does pop the Spirit Rush, and now the first threat has been taken by the Relegades, and maybe a kill for Mr. J-Dax. Passive is popped by Mr. J-Dax, but he's got to run from the Blue Girl now. Will be okay, but that's going to be a trade in favor for the Relegades, picking up a kill and first tower, and maybe this dragon as well. Total, just not a really good trade by the Firebird and Rubber Duckies. They were on the wrong side of the map at the wrong time and just couldn't respond to the bot lane. There was no jungler to try and help defend the tower, and then no jungler to contest the Ocean Drake. And now with that Ocean Drake, they'll be able to find themselves with more regen, more mana, just a little bit more health, and they'll be able to sustain through the laning phase a little bit better. Now, looking at threat in the middle lane tower is the Relegades. Samano not having backed in a while, though. Maybe he's overstaying a little bit as Baba Ganoush heads in, does knock at Sandrocker. We want to see the ultimate from Vlad going down. Sandrocker's got it on him, but now they're all just fighting here. Whiterod trying to get rid of the stuns he can, but now this is just a crazy fight. Leblugo in the front, but nothing's going down here. Kobe's going to be taken out, and everybody will be alright. Anyway, fishing for the hook does find Red Flame. Scarl goes down, but so does Mokujin's health bar, using that culling to try and get himself out. 5 versus 5 in this middle lane, and everybody has just devolved into A-ramming. They're now 11 minutes and 20 seconds and 2 for 0 for the Relegades, but you gotta look at the gold. They're actually even here. There's actually a 100 gold lead for the side of the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. Despite the tower, the first blood gold, still being down slightly due to CSing and little things like that. So, if this side of the trend continues and they don't make any more decisive plays, we're going to see a slight lead for the fire-breathing Rubber Duckies accumulate. I'll have to see how that pans out. Bob Ganoush is actually going to be going for that center hook for himself, not the runic echoes that you may sometimes see. Whiterod has opted for that runic echo, so he's going to be a little bit more damagey, not quite as tanky in a fight. And that's what I find kind of concerning, because if you look at the side of the Relegades, their only tank really is Red from Evolved and Whiterod. And Red from Evolved is playing Kled. He's going to be going for... Actually, he's got a lot of health right now, but later on he may want a Black Cleaver, he may want to get a Tiamat item, some kind of Titanic Hydra, but nothing else really you're going to be getting out here from the tank line of the Relegades. So, if Whiterod's really the only true tank you could see here, then it's really still not getting the full value out of that with that Runic Echo. It's going to be a little bit more of a damage healer, but in these mid-game fights where they need to be asserting their dominance over the game, setting up for the late game. He's gonna find himself too squishy to dive in, maybe able to burst people out. That takes some very specific circumstances. So we'll have to see what's going on here, but what we do see is that Relegades have shifted their foul on top, and the arcane shift being used by Samano. Ultimate is used by Babel Ganoush, does find Sandwalker. Ultimate goes out, Sandwalker has accepted his demise, does walk back towards the tower, and he's going to be going down. Meanwhile, same thing's happening towards the bot side. Killer's D is going to be 2v1. Explosive cast is used. Auto attack, going to be trying to get the last kill, and White Rod does take it with the cast. Be a 1-for-1 trade across the map. Now, slight gold lead for the Relegades. Now, Samano has finished that monomune of his, so he's going to be able to stack that a little bit easier. He's versus the blue girl on his own right now, though, so we do see the last Ascension shot coming out. Mr. J-Jax knocked up, Charm goes out, not really much to save him. Does he have the Spirit Rush? No, he does not. Knocked back by the Stretching Strike, and Baba Ganoush is going to take that kill for himself. 2-3 now for in favor of the Relegades. Now, the blue girl, talking about tanks again, we got Baba Ganoush is going to be the main tank here. Eyeing the leash now. About Thresh and these other support tanks is that it takes too long for them to ramp up, because as a support you gotta be getting these redemptions, these lockets that don't tend to make you tankiest champion on the ranked. So Baba Ganoush is doing a pretty good job of getting himself to be that tank initiator that can stick around in the fights. The blue girl's looking to be that split push menace that nobody can fight though. If you look at his build right now, he's got that Sheen, he's got the Tiamat, he's got all sorts of components in his build. Because he wants to be able to have the best of both worlds, evidently. He wants that Titanic Hydra, probably. Maybe Ravenous. He wants a Trinity Force. And he's also trying to get a little bit more tanky with the Cloth Armor and the Ruby Crystal. An Incha Tabai means that it's going to be that much harder for Red Flame Evolved to fight him. Same goes both ways, though, with Red Flame Evolved having his own Incha Tabai. I was born very long hook. So the blue girl, living up to his name, living up to his role rather, he's going to be still pushing in the bot lane. Relegades are around the bot side though, see if they can try and make it some kind of collapse, but Sandwalker is spotted out by the side fire-breathing rubber duckies, and he's in a bad spot. Mr. J-Jax hiding there, going to see if he can assassinate Mobigen. He's going to be taking a lot of damage. Mobigen's going down. Knight's on him, and he tries to get the plant, tries to get himself a sip of that honey fruit, but he is taken down. With nice dodge from Mr. J-Jax, but he does have the Ignite and the Vitamin Ultimate on him. Will be okay. Red Flame Evolved getting engaged on by the blue girl. Gotta make his way out, but he's used the pocket pistol. Flash is used by both parties, and he's gotta get himself out of there. Trying to auto attack, trying to get Skull, but he's not gonna get anything out of there. White Rod just too squishy to get these fights. Stun is used, but now Solano's on the back end. He's trying to run away. There's a lot of action going on here, and that's ultimately a 1-for-2 in favor of the fire-breathing rubber duckies. Now 16 minutes in, it's 4-4, and now the tide has shifted. You see a slight gold lead for the fire-breathing rubber duckies, and this is how they do it. Maybe a little bit far, a little bit behind in the beginning, but they'll take you down in the mid game. So we'll have to see whether the Relegades can really do anything about that. Mr. J-Jax with the excellent assassination onto Mobigen. Still doesn't matter though, because the other members on fire-breathing rubber duckies are just so damn strong. We got the blue girl just soloing out Mr. Red Flame Evolved, and then White Raw just being in the middle of a fight he didn't want. Now what we do see is 3 members of the Relegades in this top side. Teleport is used by the blue girl to try and save this tower. Will be alright, but now the teleport advantage is for the Relegades. You can see CS advantages for the fire-breathing rubber duckies in every single lane. Have the CS advantage in the top side, jungle, mid lane, even support, everywhere. So that's where you can see the majority of their gold lead coming out from, and they're also off of the tower, so that helps. Now taking this Rift Herald, Relegades, see whether they respond, because Rift Herald is not a choke in this patch, at this time. If they get that Herald, that's probably means a lot of damage onto these towers. Guarantee at least one thing they're taking. Now, Baba Ganoush is going to be tagged by, and it's actually taken by White Law. The fight's hard now. Mr. Jager has to be exhausted. Uses that spirit rush, but now Relegades are on the back and Rich running away. The blue girl's going to be taken, and now Release is in the middle, goes all the way. Killers he flashes in, and now everybody's running away. Samano's got the mark on him. Will he live? Will do too much damage. He does live with a sliver of HP, but that is ultimately 1-for-1. And the Rift Herald will not be taken by either party. Oz comes out. Ultimately, it's about an equal trade, but if you look at it now, Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies are going to be pushing down this tower, and Relegades are too low to defend it. The only person that's here is Mr. J-Jax, potentially, and he's got no Spirit Rush. He's got to be really careful he's not going to get hooked by an iNidalee here. So we're going to see what's going to go on here, but for the time being, we got this pause. Take a time to review over the game. So actually, the Blue Girl has gone for the Iceborne Gauntlet more than Trinity Force, which is actually the better buy. I said Trinity Force earlier. I forgot about Iceborne Gauntlet, but yeah, definitely a very good buy for him. Being able to apply that on his Chomp, slow people down. Just be a nightmare in the backline if at all possible. You have to be wary of sticking onto people, though. It's kind of difficult, though, because of the presence of just how much self-peel there is on the Relegade squad. You got this Dark Binding, you got the Hurricane Shift, the Explosive Cask. You got a lot of self-peel, but the thing is it really helping them, though? As we saw in the last fight, they White Rod was able to get in, smite the Rift Herald, sealed away, but they were on the back end of the fight. They had to continuously run, and they used everything they could to run, but they had no tools to actually really fight back when they're on the back end like that. So hopefully in a better time, at a better place, we can see them try to pick better fights and just get more damage onto the enemy team, but for the time being, not really going to see much here. Now a little bit more pause time going to be used here. Okujin has finished that Bork, the Bork Lucian being a pretty popular build recently. He's got everything he needs basically. He's got the attack speed, he's got the active on hit, he's got the he's got the passive on hit, he's got the active to help peel for himself, he's got the life shield, he's got everything he's got Lucian might need. Now the Blue Girl appears to have disconnected. Let's see whether or not that's going to be fixed here. Hopefully he comes back, but just looking at item builds now again, I really don't know how I feel about White Rod's, but I do know how I feel. I just not really the most optimal build in my opinion. White Rod needs to be that initiator, maybe even disengager that's going to be, disrupting the enemy team and trying to peel for his damage dealers here, but he's really going for this damage-focused build, and that can be fine sometimes with certain team comps, but having a mage support, having a fighter top lane, it's going to take him so long to get tanky. He's going to have to finish the Iceborne Gauntlet, and then what? He has to finish his boots, go, a Mercury Tread maybe, Ninja Tabi, and that's going to get him a little bit tankier, but then what's he going to build after that? Dead Man's Plate? That's like 2,900 gold on top of that. So 3,000 plus however much it takes him to finish this item, ballpark it around 1,000. We're looking at a lot of gold before White Rod can really be super relevant as a tank. We do see the Blue Girl reconnecting here, so hopefully he'll be getting in soon. And we do see the unpause, so Mr. J-Jax trying his best to defend this tower. Pretty low on mana, on health. But it does not look like they'll be taking us down. Baba Ganoush is actually using that Elastic Sling Shot, misses it. Killers be tanking up the tower. But they got another wave and they will be taking it down. Unfortunately, Mr. J-Jax having to burn his flash there, so that is a pretty good trade for them. Getting the flash on the Slippery Ahri. Gonna be pretty good for those future fights. And now Bork is now being built by Samano, not going for the Sheen as of yet, may sit on it, but gonna be taking a slightly diverging build path as far as I know. I don't know whether that's a new build with the Bork being better now to build its second item after your mana, or your mana mute, but I should think that he would at least sit on the Sheen, because the Sheen procs are very, very, very good to have as an Ezreal player. Black Cleaver is finished by Red Flame Evolved, but if you look at the item build, just look at the disparity there. He's got 2 Orange Blades, he's got Black Cleaver and Ninja Tabi, but he doesn't have any, he doesn't have nearly as much as the Blue Girl. The Blue Girl's already finished an item, major component to the next item, and Mr. JDF is gonna get hooked up. We'll be alright. And yeah, just a lot more items on the side of the Blue Girl. Not really gonna be able to fight him. He's gonna try, but it's not really the best idea. Now, the Red Flame Evolved trying his best to defend here, and this is now looking like White Rod's going to be trying getting in there, doing a lot of magic damage, but Subjugate is used, and that's a squishy White Rod, but it doesn't matter because now there's 3 members up here, and now Blue Girl's been taken down. But what will Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies get on the back end? And so far, it looks like they'll be trying to threaten that bottling tower. Will Mr. J-Jax have the wave clear to defend this tower? He's going for the Hextech Gunblade build, so maybe not. I don't think they just keep him one-shot backline. No, it can. So see whether he can defend this. Has to be wary of getting hooked by Iron Leash, but not quite able to one-shot it, but good old Samano helping out. But Mr. J-Jax gets hooked up. No chance whatsoever, and he's gone. White Rod, meanwhile, on the top side means that there's not really that many people on the bottom side to defend that tower. We got 3 coming in here. Red Flame Evolved is coming in, but what can a Kled do? We got Samano here as well. Now White Rod's going to be doing mid lane, but going to get a decent amount of pressure here, and another hook landing by Iron Leash, but that's onto tanky Red Flame. They're going to be alright. Culling is used by Mokujin to ward off the Relegades, and now White Rod's kind of caught. Let's Bounce is going to be used by Baba Ganoush, but not really going to do much here. But is going to be using that explosive cask to save himself. That's a major cooldown that they built, and now 5 members of the Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies are on this mid lane tower. Alright, so maybe some recuperation after that fight here. 6-6, 21 minutes in. Gonna be a slight gold, well actually a pretty considerable gold lead for the side of Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies. We got 2.5 gold lead for them. So gonna be a little bit more damage picked up by Red Flame Evolved. I'm not sure what he's gonna be building into, probably a Hydra item I'd imagine. Ravenous or Titanic. It could be either at this stage. Now Mr. J-Jax going to be hit up by Baba Ganoush. Going to use that Spirit Rush, but now he's in the middle of the Baron Pit. He doesn't have any charges left, and now Blue Girl just chomps him up, and now he started the Baron for some reason. But they're going to think twice and fall back. White Rod looking to pick a fight here. Does a lot of damage, and he does separate with Blue Girl from the rest of the team with that explosive cast. Subjugate is used to get a little bit of health, but now Killer Z is on the backside of the fight. He's in the middle of everything. Sandrock has been taken down. Now Mokujin flying in from the backside. Going to be looking to take down Red Flame. Using the piercing light. Barely gets a double shot, but does not take Red Flame Evolved down. Down to a sliver of HP. And now Baba Ganoush kind of throwing himself in there. May survive, but the barrel is placed, and he will actually survive. Mistimed by White Rod. Judging Strike is used, and White Rod leaves with a sliver of HP as well. What is going on here? Barely living as the side of the Relegades, and now only 1-0, but they did take a lot from the Relegades. Now 8-6, 23 minutes in. That is a 4K gold lead. You know, Samano's got a little bit of an amalgam going on in his inventory. He's got a lot of components. He's finished that Marmana, luckily. So he's got those procs to be able to do more damage. He does not yet have a Sheen. I still think that's quite important to have. He does have the Mortal Reminder so that he can cut down on the healing of the Blue Girl, Baba Ganoush, Killer Z, just all the healing on the side of Fire Breathing Rubber Duckies, but without the Sheen procs, losing out on a lot of damage here. The Mortal, the Executioner's Calling, however, is pretty necessary for that team if they want to, you know, be able to actually kill these great trading tanks. as Mr. JJX has already gone for the Morale or not gone, but rather Blue Girl now getting hit off. Subjugate is used onto White Rock. What's he gonna do? Does he have the healing? No, it does not look like he does. Taken down by Red from above, and Blue Girl just getting bullied by the side of the Relegades. But ultimately, not really ended up mattering. We've seen in the past he's been taken down so many times, but not really steering the game in the favor of Relegades for any significant length of time. The redemption being finished by Sandwalker. Nothing yet for Aina the Leash other than the Aegis of the Legion. Gonna be looking to get that shield for the rest of her team. Gonna be looking for that Aegis of the Legion. Or the Lock It Down in Solari rather. And now look, Red from Evolved is the one that's in trouble. Charge is used to get away. Will be charging off to a safer place. And now 4 members of the Relegades, uninhibited, are going to be knocking down on this mid-lane tower. Taking it for free. Okay, alright. Well, they lose on a little bit of local gold, which is slightly unfortunate, but they do get it. Alright. Josie being threatening on that side of the map, looking to see if he can maybe get a play, but Relegades do disengage the fight successfully. Pushing break going to be taken by Fire Leader of Duckies. That will be the first dragon. True Shot Barrage did not find the seal, but that will be the first dragon that's not taken by the Relegades. Going to be equalizing the towers up top lane with that third tower being taken by the Relegades. Now, Charms lands onto the Blue Girl. Not going to do much though. Samano going to be hooked up. Now he's in the middle of that spot and he's just going to lead it. Culling is used, and now they're looking for more. Does get rooted is the Blue Girl, so they will be able to disengage, but however, at what cost now? Looking for the bot lane tower, will we be able to get more? This tower is certainly going down. Now, Red Flame Evolved is looking for the tier 2, but at the same time, Firebeam and Rubber Duckies are looking for tier 3. Hook does get whiffed. But now, the Blue Girls will deliver a bad spot. Explosive Task goes in. He's solo, is taken out by Sandwalker. Mokujin is now finding himself in the front end. Does take down Sandwalker, but now nobody's taking it. And Mokujin is going ham inside the base. What can he do? Has the flash available, goes in, but unfortunately there is the Hex Shrinker from Mokujin. Nothing he could do there. White Rock completely unaware. Just could not one-shot him, but now Killer Z finding himself on the inside. Does not have the pool, does use it. And now they're not going to be able to do anything here. Charge is used, locks onto Mokujin, and this fight's just going on. Samano's down here for the backup, finishes off one, finishes off two, and they're going to find Aina Unleashed. Ganush is going in, but what can he do? After Evolved is looking for him as well, flashes away, and it looks like the fight's come to an end. Oh, that was one fight. So Titanic Hydra is finished by Red Flame Evolved along with that Black Leader, so he is quite a menace once he gets into the back line. Pretty good amount of health as well, so the Baron is actually going to be started by Relegade, making the call. The Blue Girl doesn't seem like he has any idea whatsoever. Now this Baron is going to be taken down fairly slowly, actually, not yet to half at 1/3. Now pings are coming out, the Blue Girl is here. Can they see this? But it's now 2K. Blue Girl's gonna be running in, but is he gonna be able to seal it? He's just in the middle of them. And now he's in the middle of 5. He's gonna be going down. Ganush finds himself on the front end as well. Gets that 3-man ulti, but doesn't matter. Where's the rest of the team? Samano and Mr. JJ doing all the DPS they can, but now the rest of Firebeam and Rubber Duckies are here, trying to take down Ganush, are they? And Scarl does not quite come back fast enough. Scarl had a good time, loved you, but you did not come back fast enough for Red Flame Evolved. Unfortunately, not quite close enough there. It will be fairly big though. 2 members of the Relegades still do have that Baron. But what's important though is that they took it away from the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies significantly, and it was a fairly even trade in terms of kills. I believe slightly in favor of the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies, but other than that, it was basically a pretty good move. Now, Firebreathing Rubber Duckies, who have been in the car seat for most of the match here, or I've slightly been in the car seat, can now, well, they don't have a Baron to take. So now the game's effectively been extended. So now Leandries and Hextech Gunblade finished off by Mr. J-Jax, doing a considerable amount of damage actually. Getting in there, doing all the damage he has to. Now Mr. White Raw is picking up the tank items he's got to. Gonna be getting a little bit tankier, gonna be going for the MR first, but he will melt to other champions like Mokujin and Lovely Girl, especially since he's opted for the Ionian Boots of Lucidity versus the Ninja Tabi, which, okay, that I just don't like that at all. I'm sorry, that one thing to build a lot of damage items, but another just not to opt for Ninja Tabi or anything. Now the Blue Girl's gonna be forcing the ultimate by Sandwalker, and they're gonna call it off actually. That's a waste of Soul Shackles. Kind of wonder what they're doing there, but now 3 members pushing in. Mr. J-Jax almost gets hooked, but he will be alright. Fight goes on in the bot lane, and Leblugo actually taking a lot of damage, but will he be able to turn it? Does have that subjugate. I don't think he's even used it yet, and now a fight's going on here. Split up are the Relegades, and there's just fights going on everywhere. Sandwalker's here to help out Red Flame Evolve. He's gonna try and get that Skull. He shouldn't get it here. Skull's coming back. He's gonna have a good time there. He's gonna be playing the bear trap on a rope. Going down 1, 2, 3 autos, and he does go down. Baba Ganoush is here now, going to be trying to fight him as well. Will he be able to? Going to be going down pretty soon, but now there's a fight going on here. But Mokujin's going to be melting White Raw, as I said, going to be going down, and now 2 carries of the Relegades are the only surviving members that are able to defend here. But luckily for them, the teammates are coming back. This game is just very close, you know, still 3.5k roughly gold advantage for this side, the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies, but still just kind of back and forth, making trades on all these sides of the map. They're doing it very well. When the Relegades make a play on one side of the map, Firebreathing Rubber Duckies are making a play on the other, so they're just trading resources at this time. It just comes down to which resource is more valuable and which nets the most gold. As we're coming into this later mid-game, we're seeing... It's late game, actually. We're coming into the late game. We're seeing just how these gold advantages are starting to add up. So, Black Cleaver finished by Mokujin. He's going to be doing a decent amount of damage. Sheen has now been picked up by Samano, so he's going to have those Sheen procs. Going to be able to do a little bit of damage. Does not have any sort of tank shred yet, though. So, we're going to see how that works out. But Red Flame Evolve finding himself in a 1v2. He's going to try and fight it out, but he may not want to. Jousting does not go over walls. Now he's in a 1v3. Pocket Pistol does, but he's just going to be taken out. And that's going to be a trade. They're going to trade him for the Dragon. Was it worth? Well, he will be up relatively soon, and the Baron has a decent amount of time still. So, it is not, however, one of the best dragons, you know, but it could have been an Infernal War Mountain, but unluckily, not quite. So it's just going to be farming for a little bit here while they're waiting for these major objectives to come up, waiting for the Dragon Baron to come up. Mokujin nearly having access to that rapid power cannon it looks like he's building. Now, it looks like a siege is going to be going on here, some kind of siege situation. Sandwalker going to be looking for the pick here. And it's imperative that they try and get that, but it's so difficult when Killer Z, being one of the carries, is also pretty tanky, and he's got access to that invulnerability in the form of that puddle. I have to see if they're doing anything here, but Baba Ganoush goes in. He does not land it onto any party targets, and now Red Flame Evolve going in. But Leblugo's been completely annihilated. He's gone, and now Mokujin's now on the back end. Baba Ganoush is going to be taking Sandwalker on a ride, but now Red Flame Evolve is being taken out on the back side. White Raw's been hooked up. White Raw's going down, and now that is a 2 for 2. 2 for 1, actually, for the Firebreathing Rubber Duckies. Now, Killer D's going to be healing up a bit, but now Hook goes wide. Charm does hit, however, but nothing really going to be hitting after that. And that's just what I'm talking about here. They were able to just annihilate Leblugo. Excellent placage of the explosive cask, but then when White Raw and Red Flame Evolve were diving in, trying to make a disturbance, if not kill Mokujin, he just couldn't. It was a very slippery Lucian who had also built MR in the form of that Hexranker. And they just got annihilated. Now that's why I think that White-Ra really should have opted for the more tanky build rather than this Runic Echoes and Icewind Dominate. A Cinderhook into Icewind Dominate even. Because if he's not tanky enough, then he can still Explosive Cast, regardless of his tanky status. He can still get these picks onto the Blue Girl and hit him into the team. But when he's squishy like this, what's he going to do when he's trying after that? He's going to have access to the body slam every, 7 seconds? And then he's just going to take so much damage in the exchange that follows, in these fights that are cropping up. Does have the Spirit Visage, does have the Warden's Mail, but still not that much health on him compared to, say, Killer Z, who's building almost completely AP items. Now the hook does land on the Sandwalker. This Middle East will be taking him on a ride, but now so is the Blue Girl just caught out again, and he is not having a good game. 4 and 8 on this Trundle. Really not looking out for him. And now charge is used. Relegades want to make something happen. Will not lock onto anybody, but they will be flashing full Killer Z. Puddle is used. He's almost got that third transfusion up, but where's the fight gonna go? Smono on the back end now, trying to single out Killer Z, but Kebab Ganoush is in the middle of all of them. Explosive Cast is used to hit them away. Well, Killer Z, Mr. J-Jax is taken out by the double shot. The Rapid Fire Cannon being used to give him that extra range. And now Baron will be started by the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. What can they do? The Relegades have 2 members down versus 1 of the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. White-Ra is up. He does not have the smite. And now they'll be looking to see whatever they can do. Goes into trying to hit Killer Z is White-Ra, but he's pretty squishy. He's in the middle of all of them, and now the teleport's coming in with Blue Girl watching revenge after being caught. Now the Soldier Division is burned by the team of Relegades, but they have successfully gotten the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies to peel off the Baron. Now going to be camping this bush. Relegate's not really backing yet. Going to be seeing what they can do here. And now Banshee's Veil picked up by Mr. J-Jack. So he's going to have that spell shield so he doesn't get hooked by Ainuri's very often. He get popped by the Elastic Sling shot, but now Baron's going to start it up again. And it does not look like the Relegates are responding really fast. White-Ra will go to check. He does know that they're doing it now, but he has the smite. Goes in too early. He's in the middle of the pit. And now beautiful red from the ball. He's in the middle of the fight, tanking up so many members iffy. But now White-Ra's in the middle. White-Ra's down, and Mokujin's doing so much damage in this fight. They simply cannot take down a single member of the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. Flashes in his Mokujin, but is that a mistake? Sandwalkers get hit by the hook. And now he's getting popped as well. Low is the members of the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies. Can the carriers of Relegades finish them off? And the answer is no. That is a 4 for 2. 3 members of the Fire-Breathing Rubber Duckies are up. And now they'll be pushing in this middle lane. 20 seconds on White-Ra. Can Simono defend this base? He doesn't have the True Shot Barrage quite up just yet, but there is no Baron minion. There's no Baron buff on them, but it doesn't matter. They're just so tanky. And Killer Z is just so good on this Vladimir. You know, never dying in these fights, really. It's so difficult to take down Killer Z when you're very dictated by these cooldowns, because Simono not really able to get in the auto attack range of this Vladimir, so he's very restricted to his Mystic shots. And so with those very specified spell rotations of Simono's Mystic shots and Mr. J-Jax's REQs, he's getting all this time to cast his transfusions and heal back up, along with all the damage he's just avoiding from this pool. Now Relegates looking at this Elder Dragon. This is how they got the Baron before, making the decisive call, deciding to be proactive rather than reactive. But all they're betting off more than they can chew here. They do not have Mr. J-Jax for this. He's going to be doing a lot of damage. But Mr. Killer Z is going to be taking a lot of damage. Now, nothing to heal off of. 5k is the Elder Dragon. And now Baba Ganoush is going to be taken actually in the air by White Rock. Now this fight's going pretty ham here. White Rock goes in, and now there's a lot of damage going on here. The blue goes in the middle of the fight. Samano's just getting dived. And what Samrock is going to do other than be taken out, so is the blue girl, so is White Rock. White Rock's down, and Mokujin is doing so much work in these fights. Samano's going to be doing his best to take him out here, and now Mokujin's in the middle. Mokujin's going in. He's got the quadra. He's going to go for the penta. Heal is burned. Does he have the Lightslinger? Does he have the Relentless Pursuit? And he does get the penta. 39 minutes in, 30-19. Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies do get the penta onto Mokujin, and that's how this game's going to turn out. 40-second death timers on the Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. What are they going to do here? They're going to rush into the base. So much time now for the Relegades until they're up. And now, Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies looking very comfortable in this game, just doing so well. And Mokujin, most of all, doing so much work. And it's just so well played by the carries of the Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies. The blue girl not having the dominance he showed in his previous games, but it worked out for them. 16-2 is Mokujin carrying the Fire-breathing Rubber Duckies to victory. Now the Relegades are going to have to reevaluate that game. Most of all, really, their tank line, how they were doing these games, because most of the time it just looked like they would instigate these fights or get instigated on. Tanks would go in and do nothing but die.